Okay, so a very welcome all of you in today's lecture. Today's lecture in the weekly current affair, that is November 2. So let's go through the content of today's topic. One is IC index of 8 core industries. Okay, so that is that we are going to discuss. What are these? Then there is a very important topic related to problems or challenges of DISCOM in India. What is DISCOM? DISCOMs are power distribution companies. Okay, so I'll discuss that. It is in GS paper, you know, 3. Okay, then you have annual state of education report, ASER. So this will be there. So we'll discuss about how in the COVID period how education, especially at the lower level, primary level, has transformed. Then recently a new law has been ordinance has been passed. Sorry, law has been passed where you can buy land in Jammu and Kashmir, unlike earlier where it was only allowed for domicile people. Domicile means जो state के हैं वही लोग land खरीद सकते थे. Then we have 15th Finance Commission that has recently submitted its report. So I'll discuss the background of Finance Commission, okay, and the whole thing, live streaming of court, then India-US partnership that was in news all over the year, all over the week rather. Then you have Commission for Air Quality Management. So we have multiple topics that we want to discuss today. So let's go each one of them and try and understand. Okay, so let's start. So index of core. So recently, the Office of Economic Advisor with Department of Promotion, Industry and Internal Trade, okay, that is DPPIT, has released the index of core 8 industries for September 2020. Okay, so it is called ICI. Now, let me tell you about the core industries. What are core industries and why? Core industries are industries which depict how economy is doing. For example, the sale of steel. Okay, it's a part of the core industry. The sale of fertilizer. Okay, so that is the core industries we have. As the title suggests, this is an index for 8 most fundamental industrial sectors of the economy and maps the volume production in these industries. So basically, these 8 industries are the most fundamental industries, and whatever the output is, इससे हम ये निकाल पाते हैं, we are able to understand how economy is doing in general. So which of the 8 sectors कौन-कौन से हैं? So this is core number 1, natural gas number 2, crude oil number 3, refinery product number 4, fertilizer 5, steel 6, cement and electricity. Okay, so what has actually happened that इनका data आया है, the data comes on the monthly level, and what it is signifying that in the COVID period the data is suggesting that we are kind of doing well. अभी economy हमारा revive हो रहा है, and that is what the data suggests. Okay, so let's go inside them. Since these 8 industries are essential for basic or intermediate ingredient in the functioning of the broader economy, mapping their health provides fundamental understanding of the state of the economy. तो ये जो data है इसका, this data suggests that how our economy is doing, how the economy is doing. Okay, and this data comes every month. So if there is a growth in the indicators of these data, which means the economy is doing well, there is a considerable demand in the economy. Economy में ये data demand को suggest करता है, and demand means growth in the economy. Okay, what are inventory gains? I'm going to explain, Prithvi, don't worry. In other words, if these 8 industries are not growing fast enough, the rest of the economy is unlikely to either. Now you can see here, ये ICI है. In the pre-COVID period, the economy was down, and it kind of revived in the first quarter of just before COVID. And here the COVID came. In the March period, the COVID came and it declined, and it was at very negative level at almost 38% in the period of April and May. And now revival is there. Now, what does this revival suggest? That economy is reviving. Sorry. Okay, so what it suggests? That economy is reviving. Okay, and economy is reviving, which means that we might, if in fact in today's news it was there that in diesel price, in diesel, you can say in consumption, in the sale of auto, many two-wheelers and four-wheelers, we are expecting we have reached the pre-COVID demand. Pre-COVID demand we have reached. In fact, in the festival season of Navratri and Diwali, the sale is highest. and we are witnessing a good growth. Similarly, even the GST collection, yesterday data for GST collection came, and it has surpassed 1 lakh crore. This is highest in last 7 months. Okay, pre covid level पे आपको 1 लाख करोड़ का जीएसटी था. So that these indicators are good indicators कि हमारा इकोनॉमी अब रिवाइव कर रहा है, and we are on the back on the track of recovery. Okay, so ये जो core 8 industries है, this suggests the same thing. Okay, so coal, natural gas. तो अभी इस पैरामीटर से हमें ये मालूम हो रहा है कि इकोनॉमी रिवाइव हो रही है. This data is to focus on the trend of the ICI growth over the past 6 months since the start of COVID pandemic, and crucial factor in this regard would be next wave of COVID infection आएगा. Now, if you witness what is happening in France, what is happening in UK, what is happening in Spain, the COVID is again, the second wave is coming, and because of that, the lockdown has again started. Okay, so अभी हमारा इकोनॉमी रिवाइव कर रहा है, एंड इन द पास्ट 2 months वी आर ऑन द डिक्लाइनिंग फेज. अभी डिक्लाइनिंग फेज पे है. We were peak in the September, and we are expecting that things might, let's hope that things might be okay. So अगर ये parameters हैं, if the COVID further comes in, अगर COVID फिर से आता है, then again in the second COVID wave comes in, then there is a problem. But I personally believe that we are almost on the verge of on the finalization of the various vaccines, and there are multiple vaccines right now which are almost in the last phase. So probably by the end of this month, end of the December, mid December, or the first quarter of next year, we might have a medicine for the COVID, or medicine means a vaccine. So maybe economy might be reviving after that. But there is a belief that winter में COVID बढ़ता है. Why? Because the viral infections, they are on the rise. Low temperature जो होता है, and they are that is good for survival of the virus. तो लो टेम्परेचर होता है, ह्यूमिड पीरियड्स होते हैं, सो दिस अलाउज वायरस एंड फंगाई टू ग्रो. सो वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि विंटर सीजन में फिर से कोविड का ग्रोथ हो सकता है, and that is where in India we are, you must have come across, everywhere government is emphasizing that we should ensure that the we mask, social distancing is still important. So ये जो 8 कोर इंडस्ट्रीज का डेटा है, ये सिर्फ ये सजेस्ट कर रहा है इकोनॉमी इज ऑन द रिवाइवल ट्रेंड. नाउ दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल अबाउट द कोविड का. कोविड के बाद ये डिस्कस करते हैं डिस्कॉम. व्हाट इज डिस्कॉम? हाउ टू improve the financial picture of the discom? So let's understand the dynamics of the discom and what are the challenges related to the discom in India. Discom का मतलब है distribution companies. Okay, so let me explain you through a kind of so we have discom. Discoms are called distribution companies. Distribution companies which are providing power. Okay, जो भी power आपको provide करते हैं, those are distribution companies. Now they could be public or they could be private. वो government का हो सकता है या private हो सकता है. For example, if you go in Delhi, there is a Tata Power. Okay, you go in Mumbai, there is Adani Power. We have Ambani Powers. But public mostly जो है हमारे state electricity boards होते हैं, SEB. Okay, we call them as state electricity boards. Now how the entire thing operates. Now normally क्या होता है, जो हमें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी मिलती है, that is, so now there are power generators. ये power generators हैं आपके, who generate power. The power generators are mainly the corporation of state government. The private companies can be there, and so that is, so or government of India के power generators होंगे, maybe Power Grid or maybe NTPC, like that. अब ये डिस्कॉम्स क्या करते हैं? डिस्कॉम्स परचेज पावर फ्रॉम देम. यहां से परचेज करते हैं, and when they purchase power, then they distribute to the respective area. For example, in your city, in your area, there must be a particular discom. Okay, in Delhi, for example, there is a BSES, then there is a Tata Power. Okay, so in our GTB Nagar center, the power is provided by Tata, TPDL. Okay, so these are distribution companies. Now, so this is power. This is a private company, but mostly in India we have पब्लिक कंपनीज, गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज हैं जो पावर आपको दे, विच दे प्रोवाइड पावर. नाउ प्रॉब्लम क्या है, दैट दीज कंपनीज हु परचेज पावर फ्रॉम द पावर जनरेटर्स. ओके, ओके, सो आयुषी हैज अ डाउट, व्हाट इज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनीज. आयुषी, डिस्कॉम का मतलब है डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनीज. डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनीज विच जो आपको बिजली इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोवाइड करते हैं. ओके, हु प्रोवाइड्स इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. नाउ they provide electricity, so but how they do, ये they don't, they are not the producers जो हैं आपके कोई और होते हैं. So let's say, so these are producer power generators, there are private company or government companies. So discom purchase power from them and they sell to the consumers. Now consumers बहुत तरह के हो सकते हैं. Consumers could be rural consumer, consumers could be urban consumer, consumers could be small industries, commercial, big industries, other commercial areas. Okay, so what discom do, that they sell the consumers at different rate. जो आपके power tariff होते हैं, they are different. So power tariffs are different. जो मैं समझा रहा हूँ ध्यान देना, because थोड़ा technical भी हो जाएगा. So power tariff is different. For example, rural people and urban people जो households हैं, so they get cheap electricity. उनको सब्सिडी मिलता है, especially rural people. अर्बन को इतना नहीं मिलता, बट रूरल पीपल गेट चीप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एंड गवर्नमेंट प्रोवाइड देम. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स सब्सिडी प्रोवाइड करते हैं. एंड व्हाट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट डू, दे पे द सब्सिडी टू द डिस्कॉम. डिस्कॉम कंपनीज आपको बिल, दे विल गिव यू द बिल विच इज लेस, बट द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट विल कॉम्पनसेट द डिस्कॉम. तो जो भी सब्सिडी अमाउंट होता है वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट डिस्कॉम को देते हैं. सो दैट इज हाउ द डिस्कॉम कंपनीज ऑपरेट. नाउ द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज दैट the power is a very basic thing in our life, and hence every time government, you know uh, the new government, they kind of provide, simple, they provide you cheap power, they kind of give you subsidies, especially rural people, farmers. Many a time industries also need help, big industries, small industries, commercial people. So the problem here is that discom companies right now in losses. Now losses दो तरह से आते हैं. One loss is the efficiency losses, and the second loss is okay. So I'll come to that part. Prithvi, just listen. So losses are based on efficiency, and losses could be based on revenue realized. And ये जो losses होते हैं, the losses are like gaps. Now efficiency. Now the power is generated in at the power plant, and the power is given to you. When the power is generated at power plant and power is given to you, the problem is that there is a concept called TC&C losses. Okay, so that is a concept called, I'll explain it, AT&C losses. AT&C losses. What are these AT&C losses? It is called aggregate, technical and commercial losses. ठीक है? Now what is this loss? Now remember, power कैसे होता है? It is generated in power, let's say 300 kilometers from you, power is generated at the power plant, and now the power comes through the transmission lines. So the transmission line होता है 11,000 watt का, so they come through the transmission lines. Okay, for example, these are transmission lines. So they come from transmission line, then they come to a substation, a big station, it could be book station or small station, and from there they get, it reaches your home, okay, through various transformers. Now the problem here is that these substations or stations, ये जो power generate होता है और आप तक आता है, there is some loss, there is some efficiency losses, because there'll be some kind of issues, there'll be resistance losses will be there. So power generation आपको 100% नहीं होगा, so there'll be some losses. Okay, so एक तो ये loss जो होता है, the loss is high right now in India, and why it is high? Because we have not upgraded our system. It varies from state to state. Some states have done well and their losses are less. In some states, the losses are more. That is the first thing. The second problem is that the revenue realized. Now, the revenue realizer concept is very clear, and there is a concept called average cost of service and average revenue realized. Okay, ACS and ARR. Okay, I'll explain that. Just listen here. Average cost of service, average revenue realized. Now, जब power आपको मिलता है, so what is the cost of that power? And what is the revenue realized? The difference. Which means your discom जो है, they are giving you power at a lesser cost. Okay, so there is a loss here. So one is there is a AT&C losses because of efficiency, poor efficiency. इसमें power theft भी आ जाता है, जो चोरी होती है बिजली की, the power theft that also comes in AT&C losses and the revenue realized. Now let's assume that government is generating these discom companies are purchasing X cost. Okay, और ये X cost let's say is 1,000 crore rupees, but they are generating, जब इस बिजली को बेचते हैं, they are able to generate only 900 crore rupees. Okay, now means there are in losses. So that is the problem. इंडिया में जो मेजर डिस्कॉम्स है, almost all discoms, they are in heavy losses, and that is precisely because most of the discom वो state government के under है, and these discoms are not functioning properly, and there are multiple reasons. There are political reasons. Every time subsidy is given, तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने कह दिया हम सब्सिडी आपको हम बिजली फ्री दे रहे हैं. ओके, बट the state is not creating discom with subsidy. उनके अकाउंट में सब्सिडी क्रेडिट नहीं कर रहे हैं, so they are in loss at the first level. Second thing is that अभी भी discoms are still working on improving their systems. One way of reducing the losses, especially AT&C losses, इसको हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम मॉडर्नाइज सिस्टम को मॉडर्नाइज कर सकते हैं. We can have smart grids, we can have better technologies in place, and that can reduce the power losses. But still इंडिया में प्रॉब्लम क्या हो रहा है, इंडिया में one of the problem that India faces is that we don't like to pay for power. Things are changing, but go to rural area, you'll find that people hardly pay for power. There is a lot of power theft, and that is true almost in every part of India. There are political reasons. Some people are vote banks, and that is why government is strict action लेती है. Then problem what happens? The discom start facing losses. So discom क्या करते हैं? When they're in losses, they would try to impose higher charges on the urban people. They will try to impose higher charges on the small industries, the commercial industries, and that is how they try to reduce the losses. But overall discoms are still in losses, and that is one of the challenge. एक और problem है यहाँ पर. Now till here everything is clear. ये सबको समझ में आया जो मैंने समझाया? This discom concept, how the AT&C company, कैसे losses में है, everything. This part is clear to everybody. Okay, so what happens? Power generators जो भी होते हैं, state government, private companies could be there, government of India, NTPC can be there. They sell the power to discom, and discom बेचते हैं आपको, but this discom are in losses. Okay, now discoms mostly जो है, government of India wants to privatize discom. Government of India wants to privatize discom. Okay, because private discoms are still doing better. The government discom, the state government के हैं, they are facing losses more. Then the second thing is government of India says that you have to tell the people, public को आपको बताना पड़ेगा that the power comes at a cost. So whosoever is using the power, they are supposed to pay. It is a very normal thing. If you're not paying for the power, you cannot have the power. If you don't pay for the power tomorrow, then where will the government get revenue? Government ऐसा तो नहीं ना कहीं और से revenue generate करेंगे. अगर आप कोई service use कर रहे हो, you are supposed to pay that. So government always pushes the state governments because power is a state subject. I think power is a concurrent subject, but mostly it is controlled by the state government. I'm saying about distribution companies. So power is an area which is mostly under the control of the state government, and hence they have to revive. They have to revive the you can say the working of the discoms, and they have to make the discom more efficient. In real sense, अगर discom efficient होंगे तभी it will be there. Earlier क्या होता था? whenever the discom and losses every 4-5 year गवर्नमेंट क्या करती थी, वो उनका जो लॉस था, यू नो, जो भी लॉस होता था उसको माफ कर देती थी, यू नो, एंड गवर्नमेंट यूज्ड टू पे. बट दिस कैन नॉट कंटिन्यू ऑलवेज. when the new government, especially the Modi government came in 2014, उन्होंने कहा कि this system, cannot function. You have to tell people that they should pay pay for the power, and power cost is going up. एक और प्रॉब्लम होता है. Now there is a there is a power generator, and there is a discom, distribution companies. Now जब power purchase करते हैं, when the power is purchased from the power generator discom, they have an agreement. Because ये जो पावर जनरेशन कंपनी है, लेट्स से दे इन्होंने 25,000 करोड़ रुपीस का पावर प्लांट बनाया है. Now this power plant is of 25,000 crore rupees. Now this power generator has to assure, उसको ये मालूम होना चाहिए कि कल, if I have to sell the power, I have to be an agreement also, and that is where they sign a long term agreement. एक long term agreement sign करते हैं, and this long term agreement is called PPA, power purchase agreement. And in this power purchase agreement, which is usually signed between the discom and the power generator, the discoms are supposed to sign, and they give a long term commitment. For example, for 25 years, 20 years, 25 years. और उसमें क्या होगा, फिक्स हो जाएगा. They will fix the, power rates को फिक्स कर देंगे. Even if the power consumption, if the power demand is less, then still they have to pay for higher power. Why? Because जो power generator है, they can't save power. उस power save नहीं कर सकते हैं. And one more thing is that they want to recover this cost. They want to recover this cost. They want to, they want to be profitable also. And that is where they have a long term agreement, because they have to assure themselves that I can sustain. But problem क्या होता है, ये जो discom company है, because they are in losses, many a times PPA को follow नहीं कर पाते हैं. So that is one problem. Another thing is that power generators also feel the heat of this. Sometimes the state government, जो discom companies होती हैं, they don't honor the commitment, they don't honor the agreement, so that also creates problem. Second is, in the past 4-5 years, there is a new problem we are witnessing, and the new problem is the renewable energy. अभी जब ये, when the PPA was signed, then power was costly, but because of new innovations, especially in the renewable energy sector, the power cost is coming down. Okay, power cost is coming down. And when the new companies are coming, remember, जो भी नया कंपनी आ रहा है, वो ये कहते हैं, let's say there is a company which is which is generating power through solar, okay, solar power, and they're saying, okay, what is the power per unit? They will say, you can charge, we will give you power at 2.5 rupees per unit. अब यहाँ प्रॉब्लम है, because डिस्कॉम ने पहले क्या कर रखा है, they have signed an old agreement at 3.5 rupees per unit, and this unit is for 25 years. Now when a new company comes in with solar power, and they give their new price, and they say, see, you purchase power from us, and this is solar power at 2.5 rupees per unit. What has happened in recent time, because of the innovation, especially in the renewable energy sector, the power cost is coming down, and that is also one of the factors where reasons where discoms, they don't honor the power generators agreement with the power generators. वो PPA को disregard करते हैं. That is also one of the factors. Now, Prithvi has some questions. I'll not till here everything is clear. This doubt is clear, everybody. Up till here everything is clear. Now, Prithvi, I'll answer your question. Now, Prithvi has certain questions, and they are quite relevant questions, and let me answer them. The first question which Prithvi is saying, and everybody listen properly, उनका ये कहना है that government of states can generate power of their own like reservoirs in their respective place, so that they can't buy power from others. Now try to understand, Prithvi, governments don't operate like that. Government earlier they used to generate power. Okay, generation power was with the state government and with the central government. Now they want to delegate it to the private sector. They want to generate, but they want because the demand is huge. India का जो energy demand is, that is massive. If in India has to grow at 7%, the power demand grows by 12%. If in India grows by 8%, the power demand grows by 15%. Every year, you आपको 15% power demand को augment करने के लिए you need to have a new power plant, and that is where state government have limited capacity, and they want to ensure that private companies should do that, and private companies have come forward and they are doing that. So it's not that state government cannot do that. The only thing is that state government do not want to do that because first reason तो ये है कि उनका जो इसका cost है power generation का, the cost is huge, especially new power plants. आपको नया power plant डालना होगा, and that is very costly. You have to, it's a massive investment, and not everybody is ready to do that. And remember one more thing, government operate in a different way today. Government का आज का जो approach है, government wants, they just want to regulate the things. They don't want to do go into power production generation. जो चल रहा है वो चल रहा है, but they don't want to go in the new area. And the reason is because they feel that now this is a business area. Generating power, selling power, it's a business area, and government doesn't want to be in the business part. Okay. And even the solar projects, I'm not saying that government projects are not happening, but I'm saying that they want support from private companies also, and that is one of the factors. Okay. The second question which Prithvi has asked, why states like Rajasthan not generating through solar method, and what are solar grid? Okay, so state like Rajasthan not generating power. Well, I do not know whether the state Rajasthan government का मुझे I don't have the information right now. I will check that. But I'm sure every state government is trying to generate from their side. But as I mentioned, state governments mostly are in losses. State government usually loss में होते हैं. They have heavy demand, heavy deficit in running the economy, running their budget, and they face a lot of problems also. That is not true with central government. Okay, so investing in power projects something that state government would not like to do, and they would rather delegate it to the private sector. Okay, so that is one of those other reason. And the other question is that what is a solar grid? Solar grid क्या होता है? So usually क्या होता है? Let's say power generate P1, P2, P3. So ये 3 power sources हैं आपके. Power source 1, power source 2, power source 3. और ये तीनों से power generate हो रहा है. Now what we do, let's say this is when one way is that you generate power and you sell it to Discom. But that is not how things operate. What government of India wants, they want to create a grid where all the power from all India or major part of India, they come to the grid, and from the grid हम जो है distribution करना start करते हैं. Okay, from the grid distribution starts. Now this grid is why the grid is important, because in some area power is surplus, and in some area power is deficit. For example, the states, many states, if I go to northeast, maybe you might say that power is not surplus there. Maybe they don't have infrastructure. A number of factors could be there. So ये grid क्या करते हैं? They want to bring uniformity in India in terms of power, voltage or power provision. Okay, so the grid, they synchronize the power for whole India. वो synchronize करते हैं, and at the same time they do that. So grid, we have a common grid. Similarly, we can have a solar grid also. So solar grid will synchronize power from all the solar sources from different sources, and they will try to bring at one level, and from there it will be distributed for to different people. Another thing is that from grid you can directly connect to the main grid, and from the main grid it will be supplied to other people. Okay, so that is how. So grid operation is very important, because in some area power is surplus, other area power is deficit. Then there are issues of voltage issues also there, so that also needs to be resolved. Okay, so grid will ensure that whatever problem gaps are there in the power in the distribution, they will try to improve that. Okay, so that is, so grid system is there. Whole India is synchronized in one grid, and from that grid the power is given to the different part of India. So that is how the grid works. Okay, is it clear, Prithvi? The concept of grid is clear to you? Grid clear, समझ में आया? Power generate कहीं और होता है, and they go to the grid, and from there it is distributed. Okay, so that is so this is the distribution companies. So this is a story which I told you, that discoms are in losses. because they sell power at cheap prices, they're giving subsidies, and state government do not pay them subsidy. They have efficiency losses because of lack of modernization of the power infrastructure. And mostly the discom are state government owned, state government hote hain, electricity board people, and they are in losses. The modernization is not happening. The second is the power theft is also a part of losses. So power theft is also rampant in India. Slowly अब कम हो रहा है, but still power theft is there. You'll be surprised to know that 1% of GDP, 1% of GDP, that is around 80 NC losses. Can you believe that? 1% of GDP कितना होता है? GDP national income, 1% of GDP is 2 lakh crore. Can you believe that 2 lakh crore is a loss in the power sector? 2 lakh crore is a loss in the power sector because of power theft and efficiency. Ayushi has a question, sir. PPA for renewable, non-renewable are same? Uh, no, no. Every PPA is different, Ayushi. Okay. Agreement. Uh, every time a new company will come, they will sign PPA with the discom. Okay. So हर बार नया PPA होगा. Okay. When you have old PPA, you can have a new PPA also. So that is how the entire thing is. The second thing is the revenue collected by the power companies is less. Okay. जो उनका cost है, for example, power companies are producing power at, let's say, 5 rupees, but they are giving power at 4 rupees to you. Why? Because there are losses. Why? Because there are theft, there are efficiency issues. अभी ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि आपसे सारा चार्ज कर लेंगे. Let's say you are an honest payer and government is charging you 5 rupees, but they can't charge you 8 rupees, right? Because that is not the right idea. Is that जो problem है उसको resolve करो. Problem is the losses, problem is the theft, problem is the lack of modernization of infrastructure, and that is where the problem is, and that is what we have to address. Okay. So in that background, I'm going to explain this article, and this article discuss about what are the financial difficulties जो हमारे डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनीज जैसे आपका स्टेट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड है इन डिफरेंट पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया जो बिजली आपको प्रोवाइड करता है, दे आर देयर. So important role of DISCOM. Distribution companies are utilities that typically buy power from generators and retail to the consumers. For all of India's global leadership for growth or renewable energy, ambition of smart energy, the buck stops with DISCOM. तो अभी क्या हो गया? There is growth of renewable energy and there is a new concept of smart energy. Now the days of scarcity of power are over. आज power जो होता है वो scarce नहीं है, power is surplus. But the problem is the fiscal picture, financial picture. Physical supply is much more there. You know what government of India wants, that they want 24 cross 7 power all India by 2000, by 2024. They want 24 cross 7 to urban, rural, every part of India. आपको 24 cross 7 मिलना चाहिए power for the whole year, and for that you have to have a very strong distribution companies approach. Okay. Analyzing the data on liabilities of DISCOM. DISCOM के liabilities क्या है? Losses. Liabilities मतलब कितना उनको पे करना है. 90,000 crore was earmarked in the DISCOM in the 20 lakh crore package. Okay. Power Finance Corporation report utility working showed dues to generators are 2.27 lakh crore. मतलब इतना उनको पे करना है, and they have not paid it. Okay. This was before COVID. Then DISCOM companies have delayed their payment upstream. They are not paying properly, so that has been problem. क्यों हो रहा है ऐसा? Because DISCOM companies are in losses. ID DISCOM should not incur loss as they enjoy a regulated rate of return. ऐसा नहीं है कि जो आपका power tariff decide होता है. So let's say power tariff is decided, and this power tariff is decided based on multiple factors. One is the loss, use, offload charges. Okay, n number of things are there. अगर आप बिजली नहीं भी use कर रहे हो, then also you have to pay certain bill. Let's say you're utilizing zero electricity, but still you have to pay some fixed charges. For example, right now I'll give an example. Our offline centers are closed. Our offline centers in Delhi are closed, but still every month we are paying 5,000 rupees for electricity. Everything is closed, but still हमको 5,000 rupees देना पड़ रहा है for the fixed charges. Okay, so this is what you have to pay. So that is how the DISCOMs operate. तो वो जो power tariff decide करते हैं, they have a fixed charge, they have charge which you are using, and the load charges are there, then there are surcharge, taxes are also there. Okay, so DISCOM companies का जो charge का system है, that is correct. The only problem is that how they are operating. They are not operating properly, as they should have. Okay, so while AT&C losses can explain the part of the gap, major reasons are discussed below. क्या क्या reason है losses के? I'll explain the losses. The first is regulatory issue and the cash flow gap due to it. So cash flow gap मतलब कि जो आप sell कर रहे हो and the revenue that you are collecting, that is different. Okay, so that is a cash flow gap. Okay, so you cash flow gap was 60,000 crore plus, यानी every year जो discom companies जो बिजली provide करते हैं, they are able to generate less than 60,000 crore rupees less of what power they are selling. Okay, that is the first thing. Second is dues are of three types. Okay, first क्या है? Regulators have failed to fix cost effective tariff. जो tariff है, they should increase over a period of time, but many a time they're not able to do that. Why? Because of populist reason. आप unhappy हो जाते हो that power cost is high. Common people, they want that power should be cheap, हमें सस्ता मिलना चाहिए power, but government is always in kind of a dilemma that should they increase or not. Many a times if they ये जो tariff companies हैं, if they follow in real sense, the power cost will go up, but every time due to political reason, the cost tariff is not being able to reflect. That is the first thing. The second thing is that the power companies get subsidies by the government, but subsidies are not paid in time. अभी मैंने आपने कहा कि you give power at 100 rupees. Okay, the bill is of 200 rupees. आप सिर्फ 100 का दो, the rest 100 I'll pay from subsidy, but I'm not paying the subsidy. I'm delaying the subsidy. I'm paying, let's say, after 6 months or 1 year. So in that situation, how the power companies will operate? There will be losses. Okay, so that is also one of the problems. And third, consumer owned discoms. यानी आज भी जो consumer owned discoms है, over 1.8 lakh crore revenue is not being realized. State government are biggest defaulters, responsible for an estimated third of the trade receivable, deciding not paying subsidies in full or in time. So every time state government is not paying subsidies, आपका collection अच्छा नहीं है, so that is the problem. So power companies are still not operating at the best level. The third is challenge of renewable energy. रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी से क्या हो गया? रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी कॉस्ट जो है, द कॉस्ट ऑफ रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, जैसे रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी मतलब क्या होगा? सोलर पावर, विंड पावर. नाउ देयर इज लॉट ऑफ, इन द लास्ट 10 years, you'll be surprised to know there have been many innovations, and every time battery technologies are getting mature and things are improving, the power cost जो है, power production cost is coming down. Okay, coming down, and that is very good for people like us, but the companies are in losses. That's the first thing. The second thing is that renewable energy is not perfect. It has its own challenges. You can't compare a power from solar plant, solar power plant, and from a thermal power plant. Thermal power plant का जो power होगा वो regular होगा, continuous होगा, and it will be highly effective. The renewable energy का जो solar power होगा, that might be fluctuating. Okay, for example, during noon it will have, दोपहर में अच्छा power मिलेगा because sun rays is at its peak, but in the evening the power will come down. So these problems are there in the solar part, renewable energy. Wind energy will be same hai. When the wind speed is good, you'll get good power, and you can't predict that tomorrow the wind will be there and the power will come properly. So these are the factors which are all also there. But in spite of all the challenges, renewable energy is a new area, and it is actually giving a lot of option to people like you and me. For example, आपने क्या किया? What can you do? That you put a solar power plant. आपने क्या किया? 1 kilowatt का आपने और 2 kilowatt का आपने solar panel लगा लिया at your house. And what do? During from morning 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. when the sun is high, sun is good, you allow your batteries to get charged and you take power from here. आप पूरा power यहीं से ले रहे हो, and you switch off your actual power from other source. So आप क्या करते हो? You are generating power, you are using solar panel power, and hence you are reducing the load. Okay, so that could also be there. Tomorrow we might have a concept of smart meters. Okay, so for example, there is nobody in your house, okay, and आपने solar panel लगा रखा है, and solar panel is generating power. So what this smart meter will do, that it will not only produce, you're not just consumption, आप सिर्फ consumption नहीं कर रहे, you can be production of power as well. You can produce power, and this power can go to the grid, और आपका बिल जो होगा वो एडजस्ट करके आएगा. So whatever power you have, consumed, and whatever power you have purchased, you have produced, the difference you have to pay as a bill. Okay, so that is a new concept that is coming. So the old traditional concept of power coming from the thermal power plant वो change हो रहा है, and that is also creating challenges, because the old companies who have invested hugely in the power projects, they are facing losses. Okay, so Prithvi has a question. They can move to new technology. You're right, Prithvi. They are trying to move to the new technology. The only problem is that there is huge amount of debt these companies have. उन्होंने बहुत सारा इनके ऊपर debt बहुत ज्यादा है. These companies, when the demand was increasing, government encouraged these companies to produce more power, and they took heavy loans from the banks and other institutions, and right now they're not able to pay to their original, and they're defaulting. The companies, the big power companies are defaulting, the generators are defaulting, because discoms are also defaulting. So that is, the problem is there. Okay, so tomorrow we might see the new competitive models might come. So these are the challenges of the renewable energy that we are witnessing. And COVID-19 में एक और problem आया. The demand came down abruptly. The demand came down to very low level. The incoming cash flows got disturbed. The businesses got closed. The new businesses could not start, and even if they start, the power bills वो pay नहीं कर पाए. They wanted support from government so that they can pay the power bills tomorrow. So that has also impacted the discoms. And remember, जो power generators हैं, they have a PPA with discom. So whether you sell power or not, you still have to purchase the power, and you still have to pay certain fixed amount, and that fixed amount is way too high, because power companies do not want to get in losses. So it is important that discoms have to sell power, whatever agreement they have done with the power company. So these are the challenges which are there, and that is the problem with the discom. तो पूरे इंडिया के जो discoms हैं, distribution companies हैं, they are in heavy losses, and this is one of the biggest challenge right now our power sector is facing. और सारा burden किसके ऊपर आता है? गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के ऊपर आता है, because government of India want to improve all this aspect. And what government right now, they are ensuring, they are putting a lot of money in the power sector. They're giving cheap loans, okay, to discoms. They are saying that you improve your system. They want them to invest in the technologies. Okay, so that is there. The idea is that they want to bring down the debt. The only thing is, but remember, डेट कम कैसे होगा? डेट कम तब तक नहीं होगा जब तक these companies they perform properly. Okay, so there is a lot of effort which government of India is now doing, and so that things might improve. So in the next 4 or 5 years, government has a plan. Earlier also in 2016-17 they came with a scheme called Uday. Okay, Ujjwala Discom Assurance Yojana. Okay, don't worry, मैं economics में पढ़ाऊंगा आप लोग को. I'm going to teach this entire concept in economics. I'm going to cover in the infrastructure economics. I'm going to cover in detail. Okay, so ये जो power का जो issue है, where power companies are in heavy losses today in India, that is precisely because it is an old problem. It is not a new problem. It is an old problem, and one way government want to privatize them. Okay, and whenever you try to privatize them, the companies हैं, discoms, they are mostly owned by the government of India, state government. So they go up, oppose them. There are trade union, there are labor issues are there also. Okay, so there are n number of problems. Power sector is power companies, discom, they are one of the most corrupt organizations in various state government. So discoms को अपना efficiency improve करना है, and that is also there, but it has to be done by state government. Central government कुछ नहीं कर सकता. They are not under central government. Central government can only push to the state government, and they can say, see, जो loss होगा वो आपको bear करना होगा. You have to collect the revenues. Tomorrow, in next 5 years, we might see the concept of prepaid meters. If you go to Delhi NCR, if you go to the new urban connections, now we have prepaid meters, and that prepaid meters is precisely for the same reason. जितना आप use करो उतना आप pay करो. Okay, and that is the concept. And people, prepaid meters will ensure that revenue comes आपने से अपना प्रीपेड चार्ज कराते हो, that is how you can pay for the electricity. And if you consume more, you pay more. If you consume less, you pay less. Okay, so it's like that. So we need complete overall of the regulation electricity companies and their deliverables. We need to apply common sense metrics of lifeline electricity supply instead of political dole out of free electricity, even for those who may not deserve such support. For the rest, regulators must allow cost covering tariff. Okay. तो अभी क्या है, वन ऑफ द वे फॉरवर्ड इज दैट यू नीड टू पंप लॉट ऑफ मनी, आपको बहुत ज्यादा पैसा पंप करना पड़ेगा, लिक्विडिटी इन्फ्यूजन. सो व्हाट इज लिक्विडिटी इन्फ्यूजन? लिक्विडिटी इन्फ्यूजन का मतलब हुआ दैट पावर कंपनीज में हमें बहुत सारा, वी हैव टू पंप लॉट ऑफ मनी. ओके, हमको गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज एक्सपेक्टेड फ्रॉम गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया दैट दे शुड पे to the power companies so that power companies or discoms so that the losses can come down. So that is the one problem. And the problem of discoms ये आज से नहीं चल रहा है, it is going on since decades. It's a very old problem, and now government of India has told them properly that the business cannot run as it was running earlier. और आपको अभी देखो losses कितना है, 51,000 crore rupees in the financial year 16. In 19 it was 28,000 crore rupees. AT&C losses 20%, 18%, 18%. Now what is the meaning? अगर 100 यूनिट पावर जनरेट होता है, 18% is lost, which means only 82%, 82 unit is used actually. And government should bring this to maybe 10%. Okay, that should be the objective. Loss तो होगा, but you can reduce the losses. So that is one way. आपको अपने losses कम करने पड़ेंगे. Losses मतलब aggregate technical and commercial losses. जो भी power companies के losses हैं, that has to come down. And for that you can have modern infrastructure in power areas, and that can do that. But होता क्या है, ये discoms are in losses, or when they are in losses they are not able to upgrade themselves. अब modernize कैसे करोगे? Unless until you are in profit or you are doing well, you can't modernize. Okay, and then you can see ACS and ARR gap. What ACS क्या है कि जो cost of power है, cost of power minus revenue realized, यानी कॉस्ट ज्यादा है और रेवेन्यू कम आ रहा है. रेवेन्यू रियलाइज यानी जो बिजली का बिल हम लोग जो भी कलेक्शन हो रहा है रेवेन्यू का, दैट इज लेस. सो यू कैन सी एवरी kilowatt hour, 1 kilowatt hour is 1 unit. So every unit that we are consuming in India, this much is this much is the difference. Okay, इतना percent difference है, and right now it is 1.45 rupees per unit. मतलब आपको बिजली गवर्नमेंट जो है 5.5 रुपीज में परचेज कर रही है डिस्कॉम, and they are giving you at, they are purchasing at 5.5 rupees and they are giving at 4 rupees. Okay, so they are in losses. Now one way, how do you reduce this part? पर किलोवाट आवर पे आपको इतना रुपीस आपका कम है. Okay, 0.27 पैसा. So this is this is where government of India will have to change, will have to work on their approaches. I mean to say the state government will have to work on their approaches. So this is a discom performance, and I personally see it is one of the biggest problem of India, because tomorrow जैसे जैसे India economy grow करेगा, the power demand will go up further. Okay, so that is how distribution companies are there. थोड़ा technical था, समझ में आया आप लोग को? Are you able to understand this whole concept of power discom companies and the issues? किसको इसको नहीं समझ में आया? Because little technical, थोड़ा technical है ये. सबको समझ में आया? Is it clear to everybody? People who have not understood, they can tell me. Clear, right? Gaurav, okay. Okay, everybody clear? Okay. So in a nutshell, it means that the power companies, the distribution companies are in losses, and they have to improve, their performance so that the losses can come down. Okay, so that is in total. So that is topic number 2. Now we'll come to the third topic, that is Acer report. Now there is an NGO called Pratham, और वो क्या करते हैं, they conduct an annual survey of education report, Acer, and every year they conduct surveys, and these surveys are in the areas of primary education, these surveys could be in the areas of secondary education. और ये क्या करते हैं, in every district they conduct surveys, and they physically they have a team of people जो physically जाते हैं, and they kind of take the data, and they're trying to give you that how India is doing in the educational outcome. So there is a one concept, you go to the school, but are you studying or not? And for that to check, we have a concept called learning outcomes. So learning outcome हम कैसे measure करेंगे? आप school जाते हो, so for example, you are a class third student. So can you read English? Can you write English? Can you attempt third class maths or not? हाँ, both rural and urban area. Rural and urban area both. Okay. So basically they go to cities, and in cities, they have a rural and urban movement both. So they go to rural area. So वो learning outcome check करते हैं. For example, class second student of math, how many student in the survey are able to do the math? Okay. How many of them are able to understand English? Okay, like that. So this is the survey, and recently अभी survey का data आया है in the September, and it released since when COVID-19 crisis disrupted this year's trajectory. So उनका ये कहना है COVID-19 has created a new problem in the education system that right now, because right now the schools are closed across India, and we are just having online classes, and I can understand the problem. आप तो फिर भी बड़े हो, you are still you're still in graduation, so you still can study, and you can stick to online system. But what about small children? Can they study? Can they study for hours and hours? Okay. Can they maintain efficiency like you can? Okay. So that these are some basic questions that we need to ask ourselves. So Acer report has given insight how India is doing in the education area at school level in this COVID period. So as I mentioned, Pratham is a NGO. It provides reliable estimate of children enrollment and basic learning levels for each district and the state in India. Okay, and they have been conducting surveys since 2005 in all rural districts of India. So ये survey करते हैं. It is the largest citizen-led survey in India, and it is also the annual source of information on children's learning outcomes available in India. तो ये बताता है how well we are doing in the learning outcomes in India, and so it is one of the biggest survey that is conducted. So every year, before going to the prelims or the mains examination, you have to study about the Acer report. Okay, Acer tools and procedures are designed by Acer Center. Okay, so how the survey is conducted, let's see. Acer tools and procedure designed by Acer Center. The survey itself is coordinated by Acer Center and facilitated by Pratham Network. It is conducted by close to 30,000 volunteers, partner organizations. So 30,000 volunteers होते हैं from various organizations, and all kind of institutions partner with Acer, colleges, universities, NGO, women organizations, self-help group. Okay, and they go, वो field में जाते हैं, they collect data. And remember, it is a survey where they don't go to school, they go to children, they go and meet children in an area where they have to collect data. So they'll come to your house and they'll try to collect information. Okay, they'll tell that we are from surveys approved by Government of India. So you would like, and they will review a child like that. Okay, so that is how they do. And Acer model is a very famous model adapted by many countries like Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. Okay. So unlike most other large-scale learning assessment, Acer is a household-based rather than school-based survey. It's a household. They move home to home. The design enables all children to be included, those who have never been to school or have dropped out, as well as those who are in government school, private school, religious schools, or anywhere else. So they collect all the data. You are in government school, okay. You are in private school, okay. Let's check the learning outcome of a government school child and a private school child. In each rural district, 30 villages are sampled, and in each village, 20 randomly selected households surveyed. So 30 villages in every district. There are more than 700 districts in India, and you can imagine, and they select 30 villages. Every village, every district in India, they must be having on an average 700 to 1,000 villages average. If you go to northeast, the villages will be less. If you go to if you go to Rajasthan, the villages will be less. If you come to UP, Bihar, or Maharashtra, you'll find the villages are more in every district. Okay, so like that it is there. So तो ये जो क्या करते हैं, they collect data, and that is how they give the there. So they have collected data in the age group of 3 to 16, and they collect data in the area of 5 to 16. In the age of 5 to 16, they check reading and basic arithmetic. Okay, so they check number of things. So what is the outcome? What is the highlight of the report? Now, one of the highlight which report shows that there is a shift of enrollment from private to government school. ठीक है, यानी अभी क्या हुआ है, lot of people are moving their children from private to government school. And you know what is the reason? Because due to the COVID factor, many guardians are not able to pay the fees of the schools. So that is one reason. And also in some part of India, we are witnessing that government schools are doing good. For example, when you go to Delhi, in Delhi, government schools are doing relatively better. Delhi government is very serious on improving the government schools. Okay. So proportion of boys enrolled has gone up. The survey also shows while the proportion of children, is higher than the figure for 2018, the most age group, these differences are small. Okay, so you can see this. Then one more thing that they are telling is that the guardians, our parents are having smartphones. So 60% families have at least one smartphone, and this has increased, in the last 2 years from 36% to 61%. And when the school closed in COVID-19 period, 80% children, have acquired the textbook. उनको किताबें मिल चुकी हैं. Data shows that 50.6% of teachers who taught between third to 5 were best trained. I mean, teachers were good. Okay, and most teachers were in possession of phone numbers of at least 50% of the students. So that shows that हर टीचर के पास स्टूडेंट्स का नंबर भी था, at least 50% of the children. So these are the examples telling that maybe things are improving. Okay, so that is the Acer report outcome. Is it clear? The Acer report, you can read it and you can understand. तो जो Acer का outcome है, that is precisely for the COVID period, how India is doing. Now Jammu and Kashmir. So earlier, J&K, Jammu and Kashmir, in India was protected by Article 370 of India's Constitution. And under this, you can't purchase land in Jammu and Kashmir. Only the domicile people, domicile मतलब जो state पे रहने वाले लोग हैं, they can only purchase the land. Acer report is submitted to not Government of India, Ministry of Education. Okay, so J&K Article 370 protected the domicile thing. You can't purchase land in Jammu and Kashmir, but Article 370 was revoked on 5th August 2019. Okay, and since then things have changed. And recently, what government of India has said that abhi to Jammu and Kashmir ek UT Union Territory hai, which means it is under control of Government of India. Okay, and here government has notified new land laws for the region. And what it says that now the new जो land laws हैं, the new land laws will allow outsiders. जैसे आप एक businessman हो, you are an educationist and you want to purchase land for school, you can do that. You want to purchase land for hospitals, you can do that. You can do that in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so that is a new thing, and that is something which has something which is news because it is very unique. Because J&K was always, you can't go to J&K. Under newly introduced J&K Development Act, the term permanent resident of the state has been omitted. Under the transfer of land for the purpose of promotion of healthcare, government may now allow transfer of land. And according to the amendment, the J&K Land Revenue Act, only agriculturalist of J&K can purchase agricultural land. जो agriculture वाला land है वो touch नहीं कर सकते हो. For agricultural land, only the J&K people can do that. But non-agricultural land, is there. Okay. So no sale, gift, exchange, or mortgage of land shall be valid in the favor of person who is not an agriculturist. Okay. No land for agriculture purpose shall be used for any non-agriculture purpose except for permission of district collector. So if a non-agriculture land has, if agricultural land has to use for agriculture purpose, if a non-agriculture land, agricultural land has to be used for non-agriculture purpose, you need permission from DC, district collector. Okay, so these are the new criterion. Okay, and the technicalities are not important. What is important that now J&K has become a part of India like any other state or UT. पहले ऐसा नहीं था, and that is something which is there. Okay, the laws does not apply to UT of Ladakh. The center is likely to notify separate land laws for the Ladakh. Okay, so that is the next news. Now 15th Finance Commission. So what is 15th Finance Commission? And let's understand the dynamic. But before understanding the Finance Commission, पहले समझते हैं कि how the fiscal relations of India between central and state government is managed. अभी देखो, आप देखोगे इंडिया में, so we have central state, in the center and state relations, we have multiple relations. We can have administrative relations can be there, legislative relations can be there. Okay, you can have financial relations can be there. But the problem is, in the center state relation, the central government is mostly powerful in almost all the areas, whether administrative or legislative or financial. और financial area में क्या होता है? There is a concept called fiscal federalism. Fiscal federalism का मतलब ये है that in a normal situation, the power of the central and the state government should be equal in the financial areas. Financial areas का मतलब क्या हुआ? Areas of taxation, revenue collection. But ऐसा नहीं है. Central government is more powerful and state government is weak, and that is done deliberately constitutionally. Constitutionally, what we see in India, that central government has more power, state government has less power. Even today, almost you can say 70% of India's taxes are collected by central government, and hardly 30% of taxes are collected by the state government. And every time revenue, जब state government को revenue कम मिलता है, it has to go to the central government for the revenue requirement. And that is where we have multiple bodies. One body is the Finance Commission. Second is we have grant and aid, Article 275. Okay. Then we have loans can be given to the state government, Article 293. Okay. Then we have one more provision is Article 282. So we have multiple provision under which कि central state government का जो financial relations है वो कैसे होगा. One provision is Finance Commission under Article 280. Now what does it mean? It means that it is a constitutional body as it is mentioned, Article 280 of Indian Constitution. तो मतलब ये है कि central government is more powerful, state government is less powerful in revenue collection area. To address this anomaly, ये जो problem है इसको address करने के लिए what Constitution has done, it has given power to a body called Finance Commission, which will divide how the revenue will be divided between central and state government. तो central and state government में revenue कैसे divide होगा उसका formula decide होता है. And Finance Commission will study the financial status of the central government, study the financial state of the state government, and they will advise central government. Where central government को advise करेंगे that you should do this, you should give more revenue to the local body, you should give more revenue to the state body, and they will come with a formula. They will come with a formula. For example, there is a term आप न्यूज में हमेशा आगे पढ़ोगे, special category states. Now this special category states was a concept which was given in period of 70s. Okay, Prithvi, just hold on. We'll discuss the members of Finance Commission. So special category states. So special category state was actually an innovation of Finance Commission. Finance Commission ने बोला कि ये state weak है. So let's give them a special category state. Okay, so there's a Gadgil-Mukherjee formula. So there was some historical जो है आप देखोगे central state relations में सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पावरफुल ज्यादा है, रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन में स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हैज लेस मनी. सो उसको सही करने के लिए वी हैव अ फाइनेंस कमीशन which will ensure that whatever revenue is collected by the central government, a part of it will go to the state government, and they come with the formula. For example, in 14th Finance Commission, जो पिछला आया था, it said that 40% of the revenue of the central government should go to the state government. So जो whatever revenue जो taxation से revenue आता है, so let's say government of India को 100 rupees मिलता है. So out of that 100 rupees, they will give 42 rupees to the state government. Okay, so that is that is what is recommended by the Finance Commission. So Finance Commission is a very important body because it tries to correct the problem. और ये कोशिश करते हैं, their objective is that we have to address the problem of fiscal relations, and we have to ensure that state government should should have the fiscal capacity so that they can run properly. Okay, तो वो recommend करते हैं, and not in this area, they can recommend in many areas. They can recommend in the any area of finance. They can recommend in the area of how loan should be taken. कोई भी फाइनेंशियल जो एरियाज है उसमें रिकमेंडेशन देते हैं. बट रिमेंबर it is a constitutional body and it is a body which gives recommendation. वो recommendation देते हैं. It is not a body which ये recommendation देते हैं मतलब कि हम it is not mandatory. Finance Commission जो भी कहेगा to the government of India might listen or might not. जो वो कह रहा है ऐसा नहीं कि it is obligatory on government of India to follow. Government of India, they might say no also, they might say yes also. So it depends how government of India listens. But होता क्या है, फाइनेंस कमीशन का जो रिपोर्ट होता है, it is a very important report. Everybody studies that. It is presented in the Parliament of India. It is discussed, it is scrutinized, okay, and hence as a matter of precedent, government of India usually accepts most of the recommendations. Usually government of India accept कर देता है the major recommendations. So that is the history. So far finance commission has been accepted. Finance commission recommendations are mostly accepted by the government of India, and so that is how the finance commission is. So the concept of finance commission is clear to everybody. Is it clear to everybody? Finance commission. So finance commission okay, good. So finance commission is a constitutional body which will recommend how the revenue collected by the central government should be given. उसके अलावा कितना grant करना चाहिए, they can give recommendation in every area. So don't worry, I'll teach finance commission. That is a part of economics and polity both. Okay, so you can read what is written. 15th finance commission was constituted on 27th November 2017, and no, Prithvi, it's a constitutional body. It is free body. It is independent body. Remember, it is not under Niti Aayog. It was constituted on the backdrop of abolition of planning commission and distinction between plan and non-plan expenditure. Introduction of GST. Okay, so that is how it is. Finance Commission was established by the President of India in 1951 under Article 280 of Indian Constitution. It was formed to define financial relations between central government and individual state government. दोनों के बीच relations कैसा होना चाहिए? How much revenue should be given from central government to the state government? How do we strengthen the state government? हमको state government को strong कैसे बनाना है? How? What are the problems? And remember, they will listen to both sides, because जब भी revenue sharing का बात आता है, wherever there is a problem of revenue sharing, state government will always want more revenue, and central government will not want to give revenue. Okay, so these are the problems which are addressed by the finance commission. So finance commission defines the terms of qualification, appointment, disqualification, eligibility, and powers of finance commission. Okay, so it is appointed every 5 years and consists of chairman and the 4 other members. And since the institution of the first, stark changes have happened in the economy, and so have in the recommendation. जब से पहला बना है Indian economy, there is a 15 finance commission. So you can say 15 into 5, almost in the past 75 years, we have finance commission which recommend on different areas. Okay, so why it is in news now? It is in news because जो आपको 15 फाइनेंस कमीशन है, these are members of finance commission. Let's see. Okay, so what is the period of finance commission? 5 years from 2021-22. So इसका period next year start होगा 2021-22 to 25-26. So NK Singh is the chairman of the finance commission, Arvind Mehta secretary, and these are 4 other economists who are going to support the finance commission. Okay, now why it is in news now? Why? Because 15th Finance Commission has finalized the report. Report is finalized and it might be submitted now. Report is finalized, it might be submitted, and some things are in news. Okay, so ऐसा जो report है वो ये है कि 15th Finance Commission has said that from 42% now the revenue given to the state government will come down to the 41%. Why? Because UT and Jammu and Kashmir has been created. तो पहले जो 42% था वो 41% हो जाएगा. as per the recommendation. And the commission has said that some of the recommendation would require in the final report. They want to create a separate fund for defense and national security area. Okay. They will also discuss that ये जो GST का issue है, compensation issues, they will give an idea that how the revenue जो state government को मिलने वाला है beyond 122 it should be calculated. So that is why it is in news. Firstly, the report is going to be submitted. Secondly, the report has given inputs where it tries to resolve the GST issues, and it is also saying that the revenue जो 42% था, it might come down to 41%. So maybe moment this report comes in, a new controversy will start. That is what I feel, because revenue come ho raha hai, state government will be unhappy because of that. Okay, so that is the 15th Finance Commission. Okay, so let's see how things move. Is it clear to everybody? Okay, fair enough. Now, live streaming of court. So the COVID-19 has kind of allowed a new innovations in our country, and one of the new innovations has been that the courts can live stream now. Courts can live stream. What does it mean? It means that you can see your court. YouTube live ho raha hai. So any court proceedings in the in whether some high court or supreme court, you can see at your home sitting in on your laptop on your mobile phone. So Attorney General of India has pushed for live streaming of court proceedings to make hearing accessible to all. But CGI has sounded a cautionary state, saying it is susceptible to abuses. So let's see that all this. So in a first in India, Gujarat High Court begins time-living court proceedings on YouTube, and okay, and अभी तो COVID-19 में we are witnessing live streaming. Justice Chandrachud, was one of the judges who gave verdict on live streaming in September 2018, and उन्होंने कहा भी that this is a good approach, open court, which means open for everybody. Okay, and his suggestions were later adopted as guidelines in the September 2018 judgment. So why they should be live streaming? Let's see the question. First, remember, India is a democracy, right? So in a democracy, one of the meaning of democracy का मतलब ये है, democracy means transparency. Democracy means rule of law. Democracy means rule by people. Democracy means an idea where people get justice. Democracies mean rights, liberty, freedom that is there. So any issue, there are some national issues in India, and don't you think that national issues, whatever national issues are going on in India, you should have access to national issues? आपको पता होना चाहिए that what those national issues are. So this open court system, will kind of give you right to access justice guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution. Further, usually क्या होता है, Supreme Court is a court of record, which means that every court proceedings are recorded properly. Recorded means not in a in the form of recording, camera recording, but the record in terms of paper, manuscript, everything is there. Okay, so this will first, अभी आप court room में जाते हो तो only limited people can go there. But now if it is live and open, everybody across India can have and can see the what is happening. The journalists, lawyers, civil society, everybody can do that. Okay, open courts help foster public confidence in the judiciary, and further, जो भी document, whatever is the court proceedings, it will be recorded, it will be preserved. So if you want to see what happened 10 years ago, you can see those videos, especially new lawyers or people who want to see something related to certain proceedings. होता क्या है, every verdict becomes a base for new verdict. Okay, so every record of the verdict is again will become a record for the base of new verdict. Okay, so that is how it is there. But recently Parliament Standing Committee, they came with a report and they discuss about that what are the problems of virtual courts and digitalization of justice. Okay, so क्या issues हो सकते हैं? So let's understand the issues. So the 4 key recommendations has been given and discussed in the virtual court scenario. The first is question of access. Can we say that everybody in India can access? What about internet speed? What about in rural area? What about distant area? What about mobile phones? Can we say that every person in India can have access to access? Probably not. So one problem is that digital divide in India. Still, it is there. As per Acer report, people in rural areas, they are not able to study. 20% students do not have books. 20% students, or maybe I would say, my apna experience बताता हूँ, I think two-thirds of students in rural area, they're not able to study right now. What you're studying? You're studying through WhatsApp. What teachers are doing, government school, they're sending, some assignments on WhatsApp. So do you think that is a learning? That is not learning. You can't, some people, some, area, you are just making recording videos and sending them. But like a classroom learning where you study for hours and hours, or like we are discussing on live, where you can put questions and you can discuss, that is not happening. So this is not a real education. And precisely because there's a huge digital divide in India, even if we have technology in place, the outreach has to be, to every person in India, especially people at the lower income group. So lack of internet connectivity, that is one proper problem. Requisite infrastructure is lacking. Abhi kahin, if the broadband is reaching, maybe electricity has not reached. If electricity is there, the broadband has not reached. If the broadband and electricity both have reached, there are bandwidth issue, there are data issue, there are speed issue. Okay, if people do not have bandwidth, they need to have a data, but data is costly. Okay, so the n number of problems which are there. So first is afford access. Can we say that every Indian can have access? And the answer is no. Okay, Prithvi has a very interesting intake. He says things like judiciary, it has judicial review. If executive legislative have same review bodies, so that it can resolve problems quickly. Prithvi, I think you did not understood the concept of judicial review. Judicial review क्या होता है? Judicial review is as per Article 13 of Indian Constitution, and as per judicial review, judiciary has the power to review laws made by the country, laws made by the parliament, laws made by the parliament, especially all the laws made by the parliament, especially laws which violate Part 3 of the Constitution of India, that is fundamental right. Okay, so judicial review is actually a check and balance over executive and legislature only. Agar if legislature makes law which is against the Constitution of India, especially Part 3, आपके fundamental right violate होते हैं. Let's say Government of India comes with a law and which says that you can't go outside. Government of India comes in with a law that you can't go outside, you can't go outside, have a free speech, you can't criticize the government. So that is against Constitution of India. अभी कोविड पीरियड इट हैपेंड बिकॉज दैट वाज अ पैंडेमिक, इट वाज अ क्राइसिस पीरियड, इट इज अ इमरजेंसी पीरियड. उसके लिए नहीं हो रहा है, बट नॉर्मल टाइम में गवर्नमेंट कैन नॉट, यू कैन क्रिटिसाइज गवर्नमेंट, राइट? सो judicial review is a process under which the courts have power to review the laws made by the parliament or the state government, and they can also review what government is doing, which means they not only can control the parliament, the legislature, they can also question the executive. वो गवर्नमेंट को भी क्वेश्चन कर सकते हैं. Okay, okay, so that is the importance of judicial review. Okay, so judicial review actually is against, judicial review does not look at judiciary, it looks at executive and legislature. That is a problem. Okay, so the outcome of judicial review takes time, that is a different thing. Okay, so large number of so one is access, the problem of access is there. The second is degree of comfort. Can we say that everybody can use digital technology in the same way? What about, I'm not, can we say that technology friendly, everything is technology friendly? What about people in rural areas? What about people and the lawyers in rural area? Okay, maybe some people who have who have revenue, who have income, who have done well, they can have access to better support system. But can we say that everybody, every law firm in India, every advocate in India will have the same thing? No, probably not. The lawyers which are rich, who have revenue, they can have that. But what about smaller people? What about single, lawyers, small cities, a small, area? No, the degree of comfort will not be there. So that is another problem. The third is the idea of open code itself. Can we say that open code, is actually everything? Can we say that open code will solve all the problems of rule of law? So some people feel that open code is threatening the actual system that we have. Open code does not mean that it is open for open code means open code, it is a transparent system. Okay, and it's a transparent system, and media people, everybody can go and sit there and get the information on the about the proceedings, the laws, or whatever is happening. Okay, but in this virtual open code, some people feel that this will not allow everybody, because India is a big place. आप सिर्फ वीडियो देख रहे हो उसका, you're not doing anything else, you're just witnessing the video of the open code. So some people have a problem with this idea of open code. Okay, then the question of privacy and data security. What about technology? What about theft? What about untoward people who can disturb the system? What about viruses? Okay, what about some kind of denial of service system? Yani kuch bhi technology. So there could be privacy and data security also, and that is one of the big challenge, and that is true for every software that we have in India. Okay, so Prithvi has a very good question. So who will question judiciary if they're out of the way? Well, Prithvi, you have a valid question, and if judiciary is out of the way, then parliament can make law against them. It's a system of check and balance. So we have three organs of the government. We have legislature, we have executive, and we have judiciary. So all three of them, they kind of put check and balance on each other. If judiciary does something which is outside their domain, parliament can make a law and restrict the judiciary. If executive is doing something bad, judiciary can restrict them. अगर government of India कुछ गड़बड़ कर रहा है, then parliament can restrict them. So it is a system of check and balance inside. Okay, it's a system of check and balance inside. Okay. Now coming to this code, data privacy and data security. So एक अगला problem ये भी हो सकता है, the data security, because software will use, platforms will use. For example, right now we're using Zoom software. Now earlier, Zoom, there was a lot of controversy related to Zoom. One controversy that ये Chinese है, then the Zoom came with clarification. No, it is owned by a Chinese person, but that person is not Chinese. He's an actually American Chinese. He's living in America since last 2 decades. Okay, so that company is owned, the majority person and the majority shareholders are there's one person who's a Chinese. So then, so the point I want to make here is that it is a third party software, and right now I'm taking the class. Now people, the servers are in US, and somebody can and they have an inbuilt system. I don't know whether I'm recording the class right now, but this recording is going on the cloud. Okay, so when the recording is going on the cloud, which means there could be some problem in the future as well. We don't know, we are just assuming that the company has good intention. हम ऐसा मान रहे हैं company good intention है, we are paying them, but remember, it's a third party software, it's a platform. So there are multiple issues can be there, and especially in something so serious that is justice delivery. Okay, अभी एजुकेशन है, ये इतना इम्पोर्टेंट इशू नहीं है जो हम पढ़ा रहे हैं. Maybe this is little too open, but what about important sensitive areas? So data privacy and security is something which is very challenging, and is going to be one of the bigger problems in the coming years. Okay, and the digital records are very important in spite of all the factors. This is going to stay, and I personally believe that the verdicts through video conferencing, the video is something which has opened a new area, and I personally believe that even education will not remain the same. The online education will proliferate, and that is true in every area, whether meetings are there, where just delivery is there, where official reviews are there, meetings are there. So I personally believe that even if the COVID-19 comes back, we still will have a situation, and this digital live streaming is bound to stay. That is what I feel. Okay, and we have good examples also. हमारे यहाँ, we have good example in Australia. We have proceedings of, recordings. We have proceedings of, recordings of Supreme Court in Brazil, Canada, which are broadcast live. Okay, in Supreme Court, the US does not permit video recording, but oral arguments are recorded. China also, does live stream of from trial courts. So these are examples internationally. So we can learn from them, and maybe that will create the this thing. And recently, बहुत important judgments. Let's say Ayodhya judgment was there, Aadhaar judgment was there, Section 377. Okay, जो आपका trans, gender and gay people. So that judgment was there. Sabrimala judgment was there. National Register of Citizens could be there. Triple Talaq का judgment था. So what if these judgments are open? Remember, ये open live court से हो रहे थे. So everybody in India can, visit them. They can see the recordings later on. Okay. So these are something which might create a new normal, and where you have record data, audio recordings, transcript also, which are there. Okay. So India में अभी ये provision नहीं है, but in future we might have such provisions. So tomorrow, virtual courts are something which will bound to stay. Okay, so that is there. But can they give it to all the cases? No. Constitutional cases, but cases like matrimonial cases and national security should be excluded. That is what it says. कि भाई आप सारे केस मत करो. Cases which are important for all India, but the cases like matrimonial cases and national security cases should be avoided. ठीक है. तो ये आपका approach है in the live streaming of the courts. Okay. Now, US-India partnership. Now remember, India and US, if you try to go in the history of relations, India and US had a better relations from right from 1950s till 1990s. Okay, and that is precisely because India did not wanted to say or do what US is doing. US always wanted to India to be on the back of USA in every issue or everything. And India felt that हमारा जो foreign policy होना चाहिए, the foreign policy of India, it should be independent. Okay, but since 2000, the dynamics have changed, especially with the George Bush, who became the president of India, the president of USA. So when George Bush became president, he along with you know Manmohan Singh, they had a very good relation, and that is where India and US relations got improved. Now, one of the problem was that India was very cautious. India को लगता था कि US से हम ज़्यादा friendship करेंगे, it can create problems. And what it can create problems? First is India का foreign policy है, it is still independent. We want to decide what we want. We don't want to decide what US wants. We wanted our autonomy. हमको अपना freedom होना चाहिए कि हमको कैसे अपना country run करना है. We do not want to do something which US wants to do. Okay, because that might impact us. For example, US wants to have a say in Afghanistan. Okay, India might say, okay, we don't want to have a say in Afghanistan. We just want to help Afghanistan and maybe support them, but we don't want to have a say inside their country. Okay, so these are the problems. But okay, but things have changed in the recent time. In the last, you can say 1 decade, especially in 2008 when Indo-US nuclear deal was signed, the dynamics have changed. And but India still was cautious. India फिर भी चाह रहा था कि हम US से बहुत close नहीं होंगे, because if we get closer to US, it will give a impression to the world that we are too close to the superpower, because US is actually a superpower, and when US is a superpower, then automatically we have to follow what US is saying, because as a superpower, US still calls shots in major part of the major issues in the world. So that is where the problem was. Another problem which India felt, that we don't wanted that China should be become unhappy. China को ये नहीं लगना चाहिए कि हम और US, India, US are forming group, and that group would be anti-China. So that kind of impression India did not want to create. But the problem, USA continued, USA persevered, because USA wants that India should grow and India should counter China. But India does not want to get into this competition. India कहता है कि नहीं, हमको इस competition में नहीं जाना है. The reason is that we do not want हमारा जो neighbor है उसको हम unhappy नहीं करना चाहते हैं. If we make China unhappy, आप तो यूएस हो, you are maybe thousands of kilometers away from us, so we don't want that future relations of India and China get disturbed, because we हमारा जो area of interest है, we converge on many areas, so we have convergence on most of the issues. Okay, so we don't want that to get disturbed. But in spite of all that, factor, India and China, India and US continued on different you know this thing. So we kind of improved our relations, and one improvement was 2+2 dialogue. क्या होता है इसमें? The foreign minister and the defense minister of both the countries, they meet. Okay, the foreign minister and defense ministry of both the countries, okay, they meet and they decide. Okay, and this is a very important thing, because now when you are converging, you know the security issues, you're converging the other issues also, and you're putting the senior most people in the government. Okay, so finance minister is almost second to the prime minister, and foreign affair minister or external affair minister is also second to, you can say, prime minister, second third to prime minister. So your defense minister and finance minister, they are very one of the most important people in the government, and when they are coming closer, which means the countries are coming closer. So this 2+2 dialogue, which happened recently, and this happened in the background of Quad. Quad क्या है? अभी देखो, India and China का issue चल रहा है. Now India and China, because of the Doklam, first there was a Doklam, then we have a recent valley in the Galwan Valley, then you know Sang that lake that we have, Sang Sang Lang, okay, Sang Song lake that we have. So all those issues are going on, and very China automatically is kind of disturbing India, and we are kind of converging towards US. So even we want to create our own autonomy and freedom, but still things are changing. तो उसी में to counter US, sorry, to counter China, there is a formation of Quad group, and this Quad group consists of USA, Japan, India, and Australia. What this Quad group want? ये Quad group भी चाहता है that they should act as a force against new dominant and rising China. Where? In Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific means Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean region. So they want that they should counter to the, and eventually this counter should become a security framework, which means we will try to bring if needed, we can make a group together and counter China even in the areas of security. So that is what recently the Quad formation has been happening, and this Quad was promoted by Japanese president, sorry, prime minister, in 2007. But abhi ye recent time, this Quad has become more important, especially the way China is getting stronger. It is disturbing Japan, it is disturbing India. Okay, and US wants to ensure that China does not become powerful, because US still is the superpower in the world. So that is happening. So under all that background, that shift was happening. But coronavirus pandemic ne ek aur problem happened and created. In this coronavirus, one of the biggest problem that India saw or witnessed was dependency on China. Suddenly, the dependency of China is increased. So now the countries are also thinking that we have to ensure that we should not depend on China in future. Okay, so that is what is happening. So under all the background, automatically India and US are getting closer, but India still want to have you can say freedom in their foreign policy still. Okay, so the background of the dialogue, which I already discussed, recently we had an annual Malabar exercise where India, Japan, and USA were there, and we include Australia also. Then there is a exclusive five eyes. Okay, ये पांच countries a group है, US, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand. So India was also allowed to be a meeting on that area. Okay, and I gave the example how India was able to how the relations between India and China have become closer. आप इसको पढ़ लेना. Okay, I discussed the nuclear initiative which happened on 8. Then we had political reasons. We tried to keep ourselves away from USA, but still, because of the USA perseverance, now we are getting more close. Okay. Now, बट रिसेंटली ये प्रोग्रेस बहुत तेजी से हुआ है. एंड व्हाट आर द फैक्टर्स? द फर्स्ट फैक्टर इज चाइनीज अग्रेशन ऑन द बॉर्डर. Because of Chinese aggression, now it is very natural that India will come closer to USA, and we are going closer to USA because of Chinese aggression, and we want to show to the world that we are strong. But remember, मैं एक बात हमेशा कहता हूं that you have to fight your own war. You can't expect that your fight will be fought by somebody else. USA will not fight the war of war of India. India will have to fight the war. But if China is creating problems for India, but if there is a feeling among the Chinese people or Chinese government that USA might support India or Japan might support India, so they might taper a bit. Okay, and that is the reason where India is India is getting closer to there. So because of Chinese aggression, that is a big challenge. And earlier, हमने काफी avoid किया. We did not wanted to get closer to USA only because of the Chinese sensitivities. Okay, that was the first thing. The second is Corona pandemic. Corona pandemic they had showed that it showed a naked. We came across a naked truth. The world is dependent on China, and we have excessive dependence. 28% of manufacturing जो है world का वो China में होता है. Can you believe that? Every second item that you need is actually coming from China. 24% of the global manufacturing output is coming from China. One fourth from only one country. There are more than 200 countries in the world, and there is one country which is actually having a share of 30%. So that is not right. Tomorrow, everything that you need, अगर हम China पे depend हो जाएंगे तो so then things are not good. So this is not only realized by India. Across the world, countries are thinking that how we reduce the dependency on China. In fact, Japanese Japanese government has given had said that if Japanese company want to leave China and go to some other country, they will help them, they'll fund them. Okay, so that is what is happening, and countries are thinking that we should reduce the global dependence and we should rearrange the global supply chain जिसमें China का आज भी dominance है. And the conversations have started, and countries like Brazil, Israel, New Zealand, they all are relooking, and maybe this corona pandemic has actually created a new maybe insight towards the problems that we never knew. Okay, the third reason is that India को बहुत सारे critical technologies चाहिए, artificial intelligence, security, political, aspects. So we all think that USA can help us because USA is a technology giant even today, and India US partnership is getting closer because of these factors. Okay, so I hope you got some understanding क्यों हो रहा है, because of closeness of China, because of corona, and also because there is a feeling that now we need technologies, and technologies will not come from anywhere else. The technology will come from USA, and USA is ready to help us also in real sense. Okay, so that is the conclusion. Achha, in this background, we signed one more agreement that is called BECA. India and US have signed Basic Exchange of Cooperation Agreement. So what is BECA? BECA is what is BECA? BECA is an agreement under which India will get real-time access to American intelligence and enhance the accuracy of automated system weapons like missile and armed drones. तो इससे क्या होगा? अमेरिका का जो इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम होगा, we going to get access. That is about map, topographical map, aeronautical data, and that will help in our missile system. That will help in the drone system. That will help in our automated systems. So that is what BECA will do. So BECA will ensure that is Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, that India has a unfettered access to the real time access to the American intelligence. So that is there. Okay, so this could be a key to air force cooperation. This can help in air force. This can help in high quality GPS. This can help in the sailing of ships, flying of aircraft, fighting a war. Okay, okay. So all these natural disasters. So BECA can helpful in multiple areas. Okay, you read this. This is very important from Pralu's point of view. Remember, how can BECA help us? But BECA से पहले भी दो agreements sign हुए थे, and there were two agreements. One was the signing of LEMOA and CONCASA. So what are LEMOA and CONCASA? So basically, The tri was always discussed. One was Beka, Trioca. Second was Limoa, and third was Comcasa. क्या है ये? These are agreements which are signed between India and US. And what is the importance of these agreements? If you try to see LOMOA is basically an agreement which allows logistic support. For example, there is a war. Okay, war is happening. So American flights, American planes can come and dock in our in our area. They can refuel their planes or their ships. They can get some support, logistic support, and then they can go wherever they want. So this is what LEMO says. LEMO says logistic support, refueling, berthing facilities for warships and aircraft. But अगर America is going against the friendly country of India, then India will not do. कोई भी friendly country India का, then India will not do. Okay, if US goes a war with a friendly country, then India will not do. Okay, so that is there. But remember, it's a mutual thing. Mutual thing means that not only India, USA will get help, but even India will get help. India will get help to or access to all the US bases, all the USA bases across the world. And USA has the largest number, highest number of bases across the world, right from Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, everywhere. So India will have access to those. And second is communications capability and security arrangement. इसमें क्या होगा? This will be, again, India will have access to uh, technology in the areas of avionics, communication, electronic system. So इससे क्या होगा कि हमको उनका टेक्नोलॉजी का एडवांटेज मिलेगा. We might get technology, and this technology is very helpful in electronic and in the security area. Whether it could be radar system could be there, intelligence communications could be there. Okay, so these are the three agreements we have signed so far. And okay, so agreement signed two earlier were logistic and exchange memorandum agreement, LEMOA, and communication capability and security agreement, that is COMCASA. So we have these are three troika which India and they have signed. Okay, so that is it. So you can read. I've explained all them. Difference between 2 and 3. 2 and 3 means COMCASA and this, right? No, this will be about data. This is about technology. This is about technology. This is about data. Okay. So that is so this shows that India and USA have come closer, and maybe India will have access to better technologies. USA and India radar technologies, military cooperation can be there, but still there is a problem. Problem क्या है? That India wants that, sorry, USA wants that India should not sign with Russia, because Russia और India का भी deal है अपना. Okay, so India and Russia are right now involved in the purchase of S-400 air defense system. So this was India want to purchase from Russia, but USA does not want to do that. Okay, उनको लगता है that if India has access to this defined defense system, then इनका जो technology है that will might disturb our technology. Okay, so it might expose American technology and information to the Moscow. So that is what the feeling is there, and so let's see how things go. India has said that we will go ahead with what we want. Okay. So that completes basic exchange and cooperation agreement. Last one is the air quality management or NCR. So if you go to NCR, right now NCR is unlivable. Okay, now things are not so bad as it mentioned in the newspaper. Newspaper में बहुत खराब लिखा हुआ है. But things get very bad in NCR region, especially during the period of November and December. Okay, smog is very heavy, and the air quality index, that dips. Okay, and this source is many. One is of course the stubble burning. The stubble burning, that is waste residue of the crop, of the kharif crop, so that rabi can be started. Rabi means winter crop can be started. Then we have another reason is of course the industry pollution, and third is we have the vehicular pollution. But biggest problem is the stubble, because this stubble is, the source is somewhere else. Source is outside. Industry stop कर देते हैं, industrial pollution is stopped, the construction activities are stopped, vehicles, we have odd even. Okay, so air quality index dips. Now problem here is that Supreme Court and Government of India and state government, so they all have intervened and they have come with their own proposal. कैसे हमें कम करना है? State government, they are controlling certain laws. Government of India are controlling certain laws. Okay, so Supreme Court has already created a monitoring committee which will ensure that everything goes at plan. But it is like a piecemeal approach. And what the Government of India says that now let's have one law instead of having multiple bodies, and this one law will try to create mechanisms so that this air quality management can be better in there. So President of India has signed Commission for Air Quality Management of NCR and adjoining Ordinance 120. So it seeks to create an overarching body to consolidate all the monitoring bodies to bring them under one platform so that air quality management can be carried out more comprehensively and efficiently. Okay, so what is actually happening? हो क्या रहा है? The air monitoring and management of air quality in Delhi NCR is done by bodies like Central Pollution Control Board, state boards, Environment Ministry कुछ control करता है. Then similarly we have air pollution, stubble burning is controlled by Agriculture Ministry, industrial emission is controlled by Industrial Ministry. So we have multiple bodies controlling various part of the pollution. Now that is where central government says let's relieve everybody of the duty, and now let's create a body which will bring all the stakeholders on one platform. Okay, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी अपना एक कमिटी बना रखा है, पोल्यूशन मॉनिटर कमिटी, which looks into this. So let's consolidate and have one body which will solve all the problem. So it will be a permanent body with 20 members and will be chaired by a retired official or Government of India secretary. Okay, it will have a representative from Ministry of Environment. It will have full-time members. So this is what the commission is. Commission will have members from Central Pollution Control Board, ISRO, pollution experts, NGO people. Okay, they will have members from agriculture, petroleum, power, housing, all the areas. Okay, and they will advise how to control pollution. Okay, इससे पहले कौन सी body थी? As I mentioned, a body called Environmental Pollution Control Authority until Supreme Court. Supreme Court monitored committee थी, and that how it was there. But it did not have a legal framework. Okay, it did not have a legal framework. It did not have a power to power to put penal action. But now ये नया body जो है ना, it might be effective, and it says that it can have the power to impose fines. It can it can maybe take real action. That is what it says. But what is the problem? Challenges क्या है? Remember, this commission is put by central government. Okay, and pollution is also controlled by state government. So state government might have a problem with this body because it is a central government body. Okay, so that might states might not feel happy about that, and let's see how things will go. There will be political differences, and because ये जो body है, it will have power over all of the body. Okay, so that is the Commission for Air Quality Management. इसको पढ़ लीजिए एक बार, read it 2-3 times. If you feel problem, you can discuss with me later on. Okay, so any doubts? You can ask me if you have any doubts. Then we'll close for a day. Okay, Prithvi has a good question. What is inventory gain? So what is inventory? Inventory means a warehouse, right? Now, if the demand shoots up, बहुत मान लो तुरंत demand बढ़ जाता है. So what do? We need to ramp the production, right? But that many times it is not possible. So inventory gains means that you have a stored, you can say in your warehouse as an inventory, and if needed, if the demand shoots up, the inventory, whatever is stored can be used, and that is called inventory gains. So in economics angle, the inventory gain can allow you for extra overshooting of demand. Companies कई बार अपना अच्छा inventory maintain करते हैं पृथ्वी, and that is probably because many times they might have an unexpected surge in the demand. Okay, so that is inventory gains. Any doubts? Anybody else? आप पूछ सकते हो if you have any doubt. Read it. There are some technical topics, I would say. I'm sure you'll be able to understand them. And tomorrow geography will start. One thing I'll advise, Neeraj sir will tell you how to study and approach everything. Neeraj sir will tell you, but attend the geography classes, very properly, because the geography is little technical. और technical है, especially physical geography. Okay, physical geography is little technical. थोड़ा effort करना होगा आपको. Be ready for the effort. You might face problem in the beginning, but so you might have to put little extra effort. But if the physical geography अगर आप अच्छा कर लेते हो, you will be able to control the geography entirely. Devashish, what are the issues in DISCOM? Devashish has a problem in the DISCOM. So let's discuss the DISCOM part. What is the problem? Okay, so tell me what are you not able to understand the DISCOM part? क्या नहीं समझ में आया DISCOM वाले में?